Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat Podcast. Of course, in this edition, we'll be talking about that fantastic win at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City, the champions. Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 4. Now, we are live on YouTube, we're live on X, and we're also live on Facebook. So please do get involved. Let us know how happy you are feeling right now as a Tottenham Hotspur fan. Now, of course, Tottenham Hotspur have done it again. 2 goals from birthday boy James Maddison, a goal from Porro, and of course the last one from Werner and Johnson, a fantastic assist from Timo Werner. Spurs up to 6th in the Premier League table. City are 2nd. They have now lost 5 in a row in all competitions. That is just unheard of. And it is the perfect day for Spurs because earlier on today, the under-18s won 2-0 at Leicester. The women beat Aston Villa 1-0, and this fantastic win at the Etihad, winning 4-0 against Manchester City. As per usual, I've got 3 very special guests with me, and they should all be smiling. Big smiles this evening, especially from Craig Dearman. Craig, how are you?
I'm all good. Apologies, I was a little bit late. I was looking for a Strepsil, which I'm sucking at the moment because my throat, honestly, screaming when all the goals went in, really, but especially the 3rd and 4th. It was just absolutely incredible. As I said on Sky, days like these don't come along very often. And, you know, I know Gary predicted a win, but I don't think many of us would have predicted certainly the scale of that win, even if he was brave enough to go for a win. So, I mean, we do live rent-free in Manchester City's heads. It's just one of those weird things where, and I said to you, Chris, the other night, didn't I, at the awards, we are the team that they would not want to play. I mean, I wasn't confident at all, let me tell you, but that we were the team they would not want to have played us, and they probably absolutely despise us now. It was just a incredible performance, incredible day. We'll get into it. I'll let the others introduce themselves because it was a very, very special evening.
We will talk about the football in a second, Craig, but I was saying off air, many people predicted, or certainly to me, people I spoke to this week, they predicted a 4-0 win. But of course, they meant a 4-0 win to City. They didn't expect that today, so have that. Back with us is Kate Boxall. Kate, how are you?
Oh, brilliant. Feel great. I was thinking to myself, I said to Jim, I'm going to have to go on to Chris's and, I'm going to have to talk about the match. It's going to be a disaster. And Jim was like, keep the faith. I'm convinced it's going to be 3-1. You know, he picked his goal scorers. He said it's going to be easy. And, you know, I thought as normal he'd lost the plot, but he was right. And, it feels great to be wrong. It's not very often in our marriage that I'm wrong. But if it is, it's usually because about Spurs, and I'll take it all day long. So, yeah, feeling good, feeling great, and, big smiles all round.
Well, Kate is, of course, from the Perfect Match YouTube channel, so do check that out. Lots of Tottenham Hotspur content. Also back with us is Harry Scarf, of course, Tottenham YouTuber. Harry, it was great to meet you at the Football Content Awards at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium the other night. How are you? And thanks so much for coming back.
No, thank you very much for having me, Chris. It's an honour to be back. Obviously, great to meet you at the Football Content Awards. A fantastic evening, and congratulations to yourself on winning that award. Very much deserved. So, thank you, for great to see you, and just massive congratulations. Great to be back here. I did think like Kate. I thought we sit there. Oh my goodness, this could be awful. When we found out Romero was ruled out along with Van der Ven. Sorry, I was like, oh my goodness, it's going to be a long afternoon, but no, a big win as well to go with it. I don't think anyone quite saw that coming, so going to take it. And still, looking for that consistency. As good as that result was, it just frustrates me that result against Ipswich even more. But I'm going to enjoy this win. Yeah, as you said, it should be all smiles tonight and all positive conversations. So thank you for having me back, Chris.
Pleasure. And Harry, before we do get into it, I've got a feeling that tonight's podcast will be a very popular one. Lots of viewing figures on this one, I think. So do get a cheeky plug in for your YouTube channel. If people head over to your channel, what can they expect?
Oh, thank you very much, Chris. Yeah, I have my own YouTube channel, Scarfy Spurs Talk. We do Spurs Premier League and England content. Matchday vlogs are the main thing that we do at the moment that's going really well, as well as a weekly podcast. Every Monday, 7:45 p.m. live on YouTube. We've got Billy T on this week. Got Jim from the Also Spurs podcast. Got a big Man City fan at the moment. Let's see if he turns up. His team didn't, so let's see if he does. But no, the channel's going really well. Match previews, match reactions, lots of different content. Done a big YouTubers video over the international break asking Spurs fans their thoughts going into the January transfer window. So no, it's all good. And thank you very much for that, Chris.
Your YouTuber might turn up. I'm not sure about the team today, but that's fantastic news for us. Now, Craig, before we come to you, now let's have a look at the result. Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 4. James Maddison, of course, back in the team today on his 28th birthday. Opened the scoring after 13 minutes, doubled Tottenham's lead on 20 minutes. Pedro Porro then put us 3-0 up on 52 minutes. And then Werner and Johnson scoring in stoppage time in the 93rd minute. Assist today from Dejan Kulusevski was absolutely outstanding. Heung-min Son, Dominic Solanke and Timo Werner. Now, Spurs are up to 6th in the Premier League table. We've now played 12. We've got a goal difference of plus 14. We have 19 points. We are only 3 points away from the top 4. Now, the match facts and stats here. Manchester City had 58.4% of the ball to Tottenham's 41.6%. Shots, City had a staggering 23. Missed most of them. Spurs had 9. Shots on target, City had 5 to Tottenham 7. Shots off target, City 11, Tottenham 2. Block shots, City 7, Spurs 0. Total touches in the opposition box, Manchester City a staggering 42 to Tottenham's 17. Goalkeeper saves, Edison 3, Vicario 5. Fouls, Manchester City 19, Spurs 9. And corners, City 9, Spurs 3. Craig, let's come to you. Let's get your thoughts on this fantastic win.
I think the clean sheet, apart from anything else, was just as important as anything, in my opinion. I mean, Vicario, look, to a man, you could pick players out all across the park who were magnificent today. Vicario was brilliant. Maddison got man of the match, thought he was superb. But I said in our chat group, I thought Ben Davies, he won't get the plaudits, but Ben Davies was absolutely immense today. Absolutely immense. And for anybody who slags him off, he's an absolute consummate professional. He comes in and he always does a job. And he was direct. I was watching him for long periods of the game, actually, when we were defending. He was marshalling that defence, telling people where to go, telling them where we want to do. That kind of leader mentality. I'm not saying Romero doesn't do that, but Ben Davies just comes in. He's captain of Wales. He just does it naturally. But the whole team, it was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. How many bad days have we had lately, and how many podcasts have we done wherever you come on here? And there was a part of me, I ain't gonna lie, earlier on today, I thought, you City away, they 4 losses in a row, they're gonna want to absolutely rip us apart, and it's not going to be a brilliant one tonight. How wrong was I? My word, you can't wait to get on here after a result like that, and it was just so good to see the away fans such as yourself, Chris, just having such a good day out. But the performance for me is like Maddison said it in his interview with Jamie Redknapp and Micah Richards. He said that because David Jones asked him what Spurs basically, I'm paraphrasing, but what Spurs are going to turn up, and he said, well, that is Spurs we trained to be. That is the real Tottenham Hotspur. And it's just getting that consistency is the thing for me, because this win is almost pointless if we go and lose to Fulham next week, So if we keep that consistency over the Christmas period, we're going to be up there come the new year, and then you get into the FA Cup and everything else. So it's just about making the most of these games coming up, and hopefully going further in the cup against Man U later on. And hopefully we get some players back as well. But, people were saying about our injuries and Van der Ven being out and Romero being out. It didn't look like we had any injuries today. The players that came in were brilliant. Bissouma got booked in the first 20 seconds. And he absolutely done brilliantly to not pick up another one. So loads of stuff to get into today. Loads of stuff to talk about, and performances and little bits and pieces. So just a brilliant day. Man City, as I say, are going to absolutely hate us. I don't really care. I'm looking forward to match of the day later already.
Craig, Jimbo here, of course, Kate's other half. And Jimbo, we'll definitely get you on the podcast very, very soon, I promise. Chris, days like today is why I love this club with every fibre in my body, because people laughed at me when I said that we would win easy against the best club in the world. It is great, isn't it, days like today? And Ange Postecoglou in his press conference has just said, I've never believed the players have lost belief in our way. If anything, we doubled down on our football today. Kate, let's come to you. Let's get your thoughts on the game, because days like today, they're special, aren't they?
They are so special. I mean, We spoke the other day about, Ange possibly being under pressure and people being so quick to sort of be Ange out. And this is why it takes time. Look, I do get it. I understand why people get frustrated. The inconsistency is mind-boggling. I can't work Tottenham out. I wish I could, but I can't. But for all the downs that we experience as Spurs fans, days like today make it so worthwhile. I've still got butterflies in my tummy. I screamed the front room down when the fourth goal went in. It was just the most perfectly brilliant performance. We was majestic all over the pitch. We literally, I would go as far as to say we embarrassed City and kind of mugged them off in their own home a little bit, because they literally couldn't get the ball off of us. Craig's exactly right. Davies this season, every time he's been called upon, he has been excellent. And for me, I feel better with Davies in the team than I do with Romero in the team. It's as simple as that. Romero's let us down so much this season. For me, Davies is a steady Eddie. He's the utmost professional. He always does his job. He puts a shift in. I know Madder's got man of the match, which is great for him on his birthday. But again, I thought Kulusevski was outstanding. Some of the runs he did was just incredible. But you could praise players all over the park. I mean, when Bissouma got booked early on, I said to Jim, he's guaranteed to get sent off. Me, always thinking the worst. But he's brilliant, very composed for the rest of the game. And I just thought we were fully dominant all over the pitch. I know they missed chances, but, that's on them, not on us. And we fully deserved 4-0 win. I don't think it flattered us at all. I think we fully deserved that win. And today is a good day to be a Spurs fan. And every Spurs fan, whether they're Ange in, Ange out, Levy in, Levy out, whatever they are, should be celebrating, because these are few and far between. And it feels really, really good today to be a Tottenham fan.
It does indeed. Certainly does. Harry, let's get your thoughts on this fantastic win today.
Yeah, I think both Kate and Craig have summed it up perfectly. I think it's one of those days that you have to enjoy, as Kate says, regardless of where you stand on the ownership around Ange's future or just generally the direction, I suppose, of the team. You've got to enjoy it. You don't know when the next come around, but it is so Tottenham-like, isn't it, to lose at home to Ipswich and then not just beat Man City, the champions, in their own backyard, but absolutely demolish them 4-0. And Kate's right. We absolutely deserved it. I think that scoreline's a fair reflection of the game. We had several chances that first half. People turn around and go, yeah, Haaland had chances, City had chances. Yes, true, but they never, for me, look really dangerous. I think we had control of most attacks, and that was what really impressed me with going there without Romero and Van der Ven. You've mentioned Davies. I'm going to have to mention him again. Absolutely superb. He was the other day as well when he stepped in. Always reliable, and he's a player that, is very, I think, lazy as opposed to criticising. Really easy to do so, but reality is he puts in a fantastic shift. Very rarely puts a foot wrong. Someone you can trust, and that's why he's here. Really, really important. And the person says it in the chat there, Roy. So much for rumours that Ange's lost the dressing room. That performance shows that the players are still 100% behind him. Likes of Maddison, people are like, his head's been turned. There you go. Vicario was one, another name that was mentioned. Perhaps his head's been turned. Well, that performance said otherwise. Completely deserved. And there's so many standout individuals, from Solanke and Kulusevski, boss to show. Maddison for his defensive shift to his 2 goals on his 28th birthday. I thought was fantastic. Sarr, that energy in midfield. Bissouma, you mentioned earlier. I'm totally with Kate. I thought he was going to be sent off. It was 16 seconds. You got a booking him. He really controlled himself really well. The whole back line should be happy. So it's a performance to be proud of, which we haven't said much this year. And that's a case of, can we build on that? Absolutely spot on. Can we build on that against Fulham? Because it's no good if we lose to Fulham, because that's what's expected anyway. Expected to lose this and beat Fulham. So 3 points from those 2 games. About how you build on that, as good as today is. But we've got to enjoy it for now. Ange got it right, and the players executed it perfectly.
Harry, what did you think of Vicario's performance today as well? Because I felt like a lot of times in the game he kept us in it. And of course, as Craig mentioned, to go to the Etihad and get a clean sheet is incredible.
It is, and you deserve credit for it. And the way we play as well, it sets us up not to get that clean sheet, I suppose. That's credit to the whole back line of Vicario. I thought he was protected superbly, whether it be from Davies, drags him with the blocks, the midfield. Never thought I'd really say this because he's not really part of his game, but Maddison, I thought, offered unreal protection to that back line, getting in there, getting his body in there. Bissouma and Sarr as well, really good And I was worried a bit early on, that first 5-10 minutes. I was like, City find a lot of holes, trying to play through us, but you really quickly, nullify, I suppose, that threat from City. And that from everyone then, they were playing out wide, and every ball coming to the box was headed away or was missed because, like Haaland was forced to leap high because our defending was really good. So Vicario was excellent and some saves, because we all know with Spurs, both ways, a goal changes things so dramatically. From Brighton, we saw that one goal, and we've seen other times where we've got one goal and we're boom straight back into it. We've seen that so many times. It doesn't take much at all. So that's real credit to Vicario. Some excellent saves, in particular in that first half, and really calm, confident on the ball. And, he's a key part of the back line. When you've got trust in your goalkeeper, you're halfway there. So I thought he was excellent today. Can be really proud of that performance. Obviously come under a lot of criticism, dealt with every set piece really well. So did that back line. So I think it's easy to get hooked up on how bad City were and the direction they're heading in. 5 losses in a row now, and they just look really leggy, which is strange after the international break, which I thought would help them. But you've also got to go, look, we absolutely rattled them, because I actually thought they started well, but I think we proper shocked them, and they really struggled from then on there. So you think, sole credit has to rely on us, and it starts from that back line. You've got the deserved clean sheet.
How confident are you, Harry, with Ange making this team consistent, winning week in, week out? Because when you think of how people have been feeling these last couple of weeks, particularly during the international break, having lost that game to Ipswich, and then you go to the champions Manchester City. Now, I joked, before the stream and just a minute ago, that a lot of people I've spoke to, predicted like a 4-0 win to City, that they're going to bounce back after 4 defeats, play Spurs, and then they're going to absolutely batter us, particularly, and as you've all mentioned, that defensive line of Davies and Dragushin, who I thought were excellent today, the two of them. And you guys were right. You could be picking out pretty much the whole team of performances today. Everyone was absolutely superb. But how confident are you that Ange can turn that winning mentality into winning every single week and, giving absolutely everything? Because it was disappointing 2 weeks ago. And it has been, it's been tough for a lot of us Spurs fans, hasn't it, in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, and to answer your question, Chris, I'm fairly confident. I don't think it's something that's going to happen instantly, and I always think maybe it will kind of be in our DNA, I suppose, if you like, to, as it is with other clubs as well. I don't think it's just a Spurs issue, but where you switch off against the smaller teams, Ipswich, maybe you rock up, think the job's done, and I think football at high level, just if you slightly your mentality's wrong going into it, you're done for. I think we'll always be, the way we play, I think it's always suited slightly better against those bigger teams where the players are really up for it, because I think Ange Ball, when it's played 100% with a fully fit team, but look at today, but when you played at 100% like it was today, everything the way he'd want it to be, I suppose, that one-touch football, confident out for the back, no individual errors, then it can be really good. But I think it would take time for that consistency to come. I think there's always going to be times where that low block team, 6 back, gets points. I think that's our real thing. We talk about consistency here. It's how can we beat that low block. We have Wolves, for example, coming up in the next few weeks around that festive period. They're a team, Gary O'Neill said it on Monday Night Football before, he knows how to play and beat us. He's done it a couple of times now with Ange being the manager for us. So that'd be really interesting to see how can we exploit them. So it's just, I think, a little bit of flexibility in those games against low block teams. But I have no worries against, and I have no worries long term about consistency. As the season goes on, I think we will find that consistency, the winning formula, how to break teams down. Because look last season, for example, Sheffield United, right at the death, we break them down, look like we're going to lose that game. We're going to need to have luck, and I don't think we have had much luck go for us this year. So I think some of it is that, some of it, of course, is on the manager, team selection, the players, because I thought Ipswich was really poor. I think Ange got it wrong, but also the players should have done better. That team on the pitch was good enough to win. So it is a balance of both. I think over time, it will happen, because the players proved today that there's 100% confidence in Ange. And that's reassuring, because none of us are really sure whether it's the case. We're all like, probably he's going to be behind Ange. But for me, I saw that today, 100% convinced. So I'm confident, Chris, that over time, however long, it might take a while, but I think by the end of the festive period, we'll put some really nice form together. And as Craig said, going into the new year, I think we'll be up there, top 5, top 4. So I have full faith in Ange and finding that consistency with these players.
Craig, I know you and I speak a lot about Tottenham week in, week out, if not day in, day out, and especially about Ange Postecoglou and the way that the Spurs fan base have been feeling towards him. And we've said many times on the podcast publicly, whenever we do seem to lose a game, there does seem to be this onslaught of he's not good enough and, he's going to get sacked by etc., etc., etc. When we win games, people go quiet. But when we lose games, it is this massive onslaught of, he's not going to last. When you look at his record here, and this was his 50th Premier League game in charge, by the way. So 58 games altogether, including cup competitions, 31 wins, 8 draws, 19 defeats. Sorry, I've got the wrong slide up here. If you talk to me about, here we go. It's 59 games, 32 wins, 8 draws, 19 defeats. So that's 50 Premier League games, 3 League Cup, 2 FA Cup and 4 Europa League. What do you make of the criticism, Craig? Because, in my opinion, and I've said this many times, and I think Kate touched on it as well, it is about the time. It is about the patience. It is about the backing also. We press that major reset button. When we can see that we go to the likes of the Etihad today, win the way that we did, so comfortably, went to Manchester United. Yes, people could say that they've got their issues and their problems. I've absolutely no doubt that every single back of the newspaper tomorrow will all be about City and not about Tottenham, which I think is completely unfair. It should all be about Tottenham on those back pages tomorrow. But when you see that Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham can go to places and win heavily and very, very well, because when it clicks, it really does click. What do you make of the criticism? And are you one of those guys saying now, he needs time, give him it?
I've always said that, Chris. As you know, I've always said we need this rebuild, and the rebuild's not going to happen overnight. Second season, what's he been here? 17 months, 16 months, something like that. It's gone part. I'm fed up with these constant rebuilds. Win now managers that don't win. Not given enough time for what reason or another. Look what happened with Pochettino. They gave him five and a bit years before he got the sack. Surprisingly enough, he was our most successful manager of recent times. All right, we didn't win anything using the word successful, but you know what I mean. We had a plan. He had a way of playing, and we actually were challenging, and we haven't been anywhere near challenging since that day. So we've finally gone back to a manager who, let's face it, walked into an absolute mess when he walked into the club. These things do not turn around instantly. And so there's going to be inconsistencies. We've said it on here many times. There's going to be a bit of up and down. But I agree with what Harry said. By the end of the season, that consistency will come. You just have to trust the process. Obviously, the players, he hasn't lost the dressing room. The players still trust the process and still trust the process. He's certainly not going to change. I just think it sometimes gives people something to moan about. I really do. And some, I'm not coming on here to slag off other channels, but some channels will delight at the fact that we lose and that can slag off Ange and want to bring in another manager. What point do you stop all this and think, look, we're going to lose games and we need to trust this manager? I've never, ever once wavered from my thought that Ange needs to be given time, and I've never once said Ange out. So I still believe he is the one that's going to take us forward and eventually win us a trophy. There will be inconsistencies. There will be, by its very nature. There's going to be inconsistencies. We just have to ride it out. We have this train that we're all riding. We're Spurs fans. We know what's going to happen. We know we're not going to win every game. We know there's going to be twists and turns. We just got to stick with it because it will get better. And look, after today, how can it get any better than today? Come on. You beat the champions on their home patch. That's the first time Pep's ever been beaten 4-0 in a home game. We're second top scorers in the league. We're not doing badly. If we had beaten Ipswich, we'd be third and a point behind City. We're not that far away.
It's also the first time the reigning champions have ever lost. Any reigning champions have ever lost 5 games in a row.
Yeah.
And it stopped their 52 unbeaten run. So it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. You're on mute, Chris. Chris, you're on mute.
Chris.
Sorry.
Right.
Got excited.
I know, getting excited. Yeah. If you went through game by game this season, you know, like at Leicester game, the first game of the, or no, it was on the Monday night, but that weekend, we should have picked up 3 points there. We should have got points at Newcastle. I tell you what, you could literally go through every single game. That Ipswich game, we should have won. But you know, we could be in a very, very good position. But Kate, let's stay with you because Ange Postecoglou in the embargoed press conference said, you know, people forget where Spurs were when he came in. We were 8th. We weren't in Europe. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience. I know a lot of people don't like that term, but when a new manager comes in, surely you've got to give the time and the patience to the manager. I know a lot of people are criticising everything he's done. I personally think he's done a fantastic job since he's come in. I think he's changing things off the pitch week by week, month by month. I know a lot of fans don't see that. But when you talk about the club, like all of us do on a daily basis, covering stuff on YouTube, I think that all of us understand how, what a great job Ange is doing. But when you see results and you see performances and you see individual performances like we did today, you can certainly see that change, can't you? But I think that, what I'm trying to say is, I think a lot of people do need to remember what a mess he walked into.
Yeah, I mean, when Ange said that, it took me back to, and I thought, he's right, obviously, because you do forget. But the thing that annoys me is that I was one of these people who didn't actually want Ange Postecoglou. I didn't know particularly much about him, but I wanted Arne Slot. That's who I'd set my heart on, getting Arne Slot. But once Ange was announced, obviously, I looked into him and realised that he's a good guy. But there was a lot of channels that were saying they want Ange Postecoglou. This guy is, really good and he's going to be exciting. He's going to be this, he's going to be that. And, and I was saying, well, whoever we get, we've got to give him time. Yeah, we will. We'll all give him time. He needs at least, 3 or 4 seasons. And yet, as soon as he's arrived, it all goes out the window. You get a couple of bad results. And yet, I understand we're losing to people we shouldn't lose to on paper. Football isn't played on paper, At the end of the day, Liverpool shouldn't have lost at Anfield to Nottingham Forest, but they did. It is frustrating, but Rome, and it is a cliche, Rome wasn't built in a day. It is going to take time. But you've only got to watch today to see things are changing. I know it's one game and the Ipswich game was terrible, but I do think there is a mentality issue with Tottenham players where they do get complacent against the smaller teams and think they can literally just turn up and win a game. And, that's got to be ironed out, and I'm sure Ange will do that. But, some of the football today was sublime to watch us play the link-up play. Solanke, another one who comes in for a lot of criticism for not scoring goals, he was pivotal in so much of what we did today that was good. He's so strong. He's so he's like a chihuahua. He won't, he wants that ball back. No matter what, he's going to get that ball back. And I think people need to look at the bigger picture instead of harping on about stats and figures and this and that and win percentages. You've only got to look with your eyes and see that things are changing. Yes, it is inconsistent, but I think from today, if people can't see that Ange is doing a good job, there's no helping them. I don't know what else to say. What
do you say to those doubters, Kate, at this point?
Well, I say what I said when I was on it the other day. Stop trying to be a pundit and analysing everything and support your club. That's how I feel. We've all got enough stress and problems in the world. For me, football has always been, since I was about 5 or 6, my place to escape. I love it. It's my hobby. It's something I love. I met my husband at Spurs. That's where we met. We actually met at White Hart Lane. So if you want to be miserable about something, don't choose your hobby to be miserable about. Why worry and scream and pull your hair out and be aggressive and moan about things you can't change? Just to enjoy the club. Maybe Ange isn't the right man for the job. And in 5 years' time, we all look back and go, oh, my God, what was we thinking? But maybe, just maybe, he might be the right guy. So it's always stop trying to be a pundit. Just be a fan and support the club and the players and get behind them because that's what they need.
So, Kate, you met your husband and I met Craig.
Yeah, you see, matches made in heaven.
Yes, it. Harry, let's come to you. Let's talk about the starting 11 because, of course, Ange Postecoglou made 3 changes to the team that lost to Ipswich 2 weeks ago. Davies, Maddison and Bissouma all coming in. Romero, of course, was injured. Werner and Johnson dropped to the bench and Bentancur, of course, was suspended. So this was the team as follows. Vicario, Porro, Dragushin, Davies, Udogi, Bissouma, Sarr, Maddison. Maddison on his 28th birthday, by the way. Kulusevski, Solanke and Heung-min Son. Subs today, Forster, Spence, Hardy, Gray, Bergval, Elise, Johnson, Timo Werner and Lancashire. And it's worth noting that for those of you that don't really follow the academy, Malachi Hardy is only 16, centre-back, regular for our under-18s in the latter part of last season. And Callum Elise, only 17 years old, centre midfielder, regular for the under-18. So many congratulations to them for getting their opportunities on the bench at the Etihad. What a fantastic experience for them today. Talking about the starting 11, Harry, any surprises for you today? Because, of course, many people actually who I've spoke to in the last couple of weeks didn't think that James Maddison would make this game against City in the starting 11. Were you surprised to see him?
Yeah, I'd be one of them. I was very surprised to see him. Obviously, we know his recent performances have been in and out of the team, mainly out in recent games. But the big surprise was we looked at this and was like, yeah, Kulusevski is going to be on the right-hand side. Ange quickly confirmed that his interview with Sky before the game and the mini press conference, if you like. So that was interesting. Obviously, we know he's done well in that position in the past against Man City, in particular at the Etihad. So when you thought about it, it made sense. But I expected Johnson to start. I think that front three for me felt fairly nailed on, and that's why I'm not the manager. Ange Postecoglou is. He picks the team. Obviously, we find out it works absolutely perfectly. Kulusevski, excellent in that role. He's had a fantastic season, hasn't he? In that number 10 position, but he proved he also can do it on the right, maybe when the situation's right, the game's right. Maddison, excellent. So no, you got it spot on. And when Ange explained it before the game, it was really interesting in terms of Maddison. Obviously didn't go on international duty with England, didn't get called up to his frustration, but stayed behind, a lot fresher. He's very key to controlling the game. Obviously we didn't have the majority of the ball, but we still had a large chunk of the ball that was possible because of Maddison in that midfield and what he offers. So yeah, I'd say I was surprised by that team, Chris. Obviously it worked out perfectly, but that's why Kate's spot on for me. You've got to give Ange time, and that's the example of that. On paper, that looks like a fairly strange starting 11, but it works. And Pep, in the opposite dugout, how many times has he played different players, in particular defenders in midfield, and it's worked absolutely perfectly. Strange substitutions, and managers see things that we don't, and that's it. And I think Kate's absolutely spot on. I think it all kind of links into getting behind Ange, and because there's people that jump on a bandwagon and try and take advantage when we don't get the results, such as Ipswich, and you won't hear from them when we've beaten City. So everyone should enjoy this victory, but that team was a surprise to me. Obviously, very quickly, it worked absolutely perfectly. City were stunned, and let's be clear, City were boosted by the return of several assets. Whether it be Grealish and De Bruyne on the bench or several defensive players. And yes, they are missing Rodri, a very, very key player. I understand that, but the players that we're missing, from Bentancur to Romero to Van der Ven to Richarlison, Odegaard off the bench, we are missing players. So I don't think you can point that on them missing Rodri, and I think that's where you've got to give credit to Ange today. Yes, the players executed perfectly, but the manager who come into this game, a little bit of pressure, a little bit of scrutiny, come into it in 11th place. There's going to be a little bit of pressure on you as manager Tottenham, where we want to be. He got it absolutely spot on. He outfoxed Pep Guardiola. Simple as that. Harry,
when we get a result and a performance like this, are you someone that starts to get carried away, or are you thinking, hold on a minute, we are inconsistent. We've got Roma and then Fulham this week. It's another hard week. There's no easy games in whatever competition you're playing in. But are you one of those getting carried away? Because I feel like the older I get, I'm kind of like, right, I'm going to stay a bit calmer this time than I used to get so excited about these wins. And then, of course, when, we play our next game, and particularly how inconsistent we have been, and it's very fair to say that, Ange Postecoglou said it himself, about how inconsistent we've been. But are you one of those ones that do get carried away?
Not this time. I probably did after we beat Villa and City, to be totally honest with you. But that Ipswich loss just set me back a little bit. We know how inconsistent we are, as you said there. Ange acknowledges it. And when you have a manager that acknowledges it and is frustrated with it, that's what it is. It's a serious issue. And I think it does come back to mentality. I agree with the guys. I try not to get too carried away from this. Because you said Roma coming up, then Fulham. It wouldn't surprise me if we we don't get over the line against Fulham, so we have to wait and see, take each game as it comes. But yeah, we put ourselves in a good position following this game. Obviously, Chelsea win, and we want to try and kind of keep with teams like that. Villa didn't win, so that win was important. When I don't think it was expected. It was a case of, can we sneak something from this game? We've absolutely turned over Man City, and I don't think it necessarily seemed like a good time to play them after the international break. Reset, obviously, announced Pep extending for another 2 years. City fans come into it louder than usual. I think they're really up for it, and we just crushed their hope within 10-15 minutes by our excellent start. So no, try not to get too carried away, Chris, to be honest with you. But it is easy, isn't it? I certainly got carried away this time last year. I will admit that. Yeah.
Craig, talking about the team selection, of course, I think all of us knew that Radu Dragushin was going to partner Ben Davies, or Ben Davies was certainly going to come into the team with Romero out. And Manchester City had so many players come back into their squad. They had so many injury issues, but they've all come back. How do you feel that we did defensively today?
I thought we were brilliant. I mean, how can you go to the Etihad, win 4-0? Let me say that again, 0, and not say the defence played well. I've been critical of Dragushin, but it was a slight tweak to the way we played today, because I think, and I've said this from the start, I think he looks better when we're a bit deeper. When he's defending his box, I think he's a very good defender, actually. He's good in the air, he's strong. If somebody's running in behind him, he's not the quickest, so that's where not having Van der Ven, he's going to show. But today, we knew City were going to have a fair bit of the ball. We knew they were going to come at us. And the whole defence was just more solid today, not just Dave. I think Dragushin generally plays better with Davies alongside him. I do.
I think we've lost Craig. Kate, let's come to you on the starting 11. Any surprises there for you? Because, of course, James Maddison, as I asked Harry.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, go on, Craig. Carry on.
Sorry, I think my internet must have dropped there. Dragushin looks a lot better with Davies. I don't know where I got up to before it went off. But, I thought they all played pretty well. Very well, in fact. But you know what's really... I was sitting here thinking, you do get teams that are a thorn in the side of other teams, bogey teams or whatever. We've had enough over the years. It's just weird, isn't it? Because you could say if it was the same players in the same type of football that you're playing and you're turning a team over. But we've beaten them under Ange. We've beaten them under Conte. We've beaten them under Nuno.
Yeah.
Why? How does that happen? How does that happen and why? It's just, I cannot put my finger on how that's happened. And yet we'd struggle against Ipswich at home. I'm not even going to say the S word that you don't like, with the Y on the end. But it is, isn't it? It's just bizarre. How can we play so well against Manchester City at their place, at home, and yet not turn up in other games? It's very, very odd.
Craig, of course, it turned out to be a masterclass plan from Ange to put James Maddison in the starting 11. Were you surprised that he was in the starting 11?
No, I wasn't actually. I did have a feeling he might come in, purely because of Bentancur's situation. There was a part of me I thought, well, he could easily go with Sarr, Bissouma and Kulusevski in the middle, and Johnson, and probably if you held a gun to my head and say what's the starting now, I probably would have gone with that. But I wasn't surprised Maddison come back in, purely for the reason because he hadn't gone on international duty. He was probably one of the fresher players, so it kind of made sense. And obviously he's been performing well in training, so Ange has stuck him in. And Maddison said, he's never lost that belief. He thinks he's been playing well most of the season. He had a few games where he didn't perform, but that's the Maddison that we want to see week in, week out. And it's not just the consistency for the team. It kind of goes hand in glove, I know, but consistency of players. You want to see that Maddison every week. Kulusevski's been doing it every game this season. So imagine if all the players can keep that consistency and where we'd be. Yeah, I agree, George. Ben Davies is completely underrated. Yeah.
How many times have people been saying that whenever he comes in now under Ange Postecoglou?
Does Romero? I don't know if it's been said or I saw it in the comments. Is Romero's place under threat? Could you could you have Ben Davies and Van der Ven at the back? I don't know.
Ange absolutely loves Romero. I don't think he'd ever drop him. I don't think we'd ever see that happen. Could be wrong. I don't think so. Kate, on the starting 11, before we talk about the match instance, on the starting 11, any surprises there for you?
First of all, I'd just like to say you're not getting carried away. My husband's 62 and I've just seen him putting up banners saying the quad is on all over the front room. So he's certainly been getting carried away. I was absolutely dumbstruck at the starting 11. You want to know the truth? To see Maddison in there when all I've heard all week or all international break is that him and Ange have had a massive falling out and that he won't be playing. So that was good to see. And I expected... Can I just say,
Kate, because I've said this the last couple of weeks, even if player, manager or players, whatever, have falling outs, that is a positive thing. That is a good thing. It is not necessarily a negative thing where people are not going to talk to one another anymore. You know, it is a positive thing.
I mean, players have always had falling outs. It's just social media now makes it public knowledge. I'm sure there was falling outs all the time when Alex Ferguson was in charge.
Absolutely.
And, you know, but I did expect Johnson to start rather than Kulu. But, you know, I don't get paid big bucks. And what do I know? Because everything that he did was perfect. So apart from that, yeah, it was pretty much what I expected.
Okay, let's talk about the match instance. Of course, it was just 17 seconds in. Bissouma given a yellow card. At that point, you were probably worried thinking he was going to get a red card. I think everyone thought that at that point. That is not ideal for a midfielder, certainly in his position, to be getting a yellow card at that point of the game.
No, I had, my gut sunk. And even, I've got to be honest and put my hands up here, when we went 2-0 up, I said to Jimbo, I can see where this is going. He went, go on. I said, we're cruising. Bissouma's going to get sent off and we're going to lose this match 3-2 or 4-2. And he went, oh, don't say that. And I said, I can see it coming. But Bissouma showed a level of maturity that we've been waiting to see from him. You know, the first 10 games of last season, he was excellent. His form's been up and down, but I thought he was excellent, well-disciplined, did what he had to do. I thought all our players, apart from that first yellow card, the discipline of all our players today was excellent because Man City got quite a few yellow cards. Yeah. I don't remember us getting any more. Maybe we did get one or two, but I thought the discipline from the team was excellent. And yeah, like I said, I thought Bissouma gave a really mature performance because that's going to play on your mind if after sort of 17 seconds you're on a yellow card and you're playing against the best team in the world, arguably. It's going to play on your mind that you've got to be careful. But he didn't change how he played. He just played with confidence and swagger. And yeah, I'm kind of proud of him today as an older lady. I'm proud of him for behaving himself and not getting himself sent off.
What I want to know, Kate, is Jim always so positive about everything Tottenham Hotspur?
Oh, yeah, always. Always. He won't ever back against his team. He'll criticise and he'll say if something's wrong. But if you ask him if we're going to play Barcelona tomorrow, he'll predict us to win 4-0. That's just Jim.
Love it. Harry, let's come to you. After 4 minutes, Haaland had a shot blocked by Ben Davies. At that point, it did look like Manchester City were on the attack. You know, the opening couple of minutes, it looked like a typical Manchester City team. Of course, if that had gone in, it wouldn't have been the perfect start. But again, Ben Davies was there to block the shot. How underrated is Ben Davies? I know you guys have touched on it already, but, you know, going into this game, you look on social media, you have conversations with Spurs fans, friends, family, etc. And they all said, Radu Dragushin, Ben Davies at the back when we're facing the likes of Haaland, Gundogan, Phil Foden and co. You know, that is not looking good. But I tell you what, defensively, we were superb today.
We were, and Ben Davies was at the heart of it, wasn't he? And yeah, I said it earlier, whenever he's called upon, he's excellent. And I don't see how you can see a fault in him. A lot of people were keen to shift him on in the summer, and I was one of those that were like, actually, I think you keep him because he's a great utility player. He's going to step in and always do a job for you. And I think you're going to have players like that. And that's absolutely fine. Wherever you want to get in a project, you're going to have sometimes, I think, a safe pair of hands that comes in and does the job. You need that experience, which is something, there's not a lot of in this team. It's a young team, that's fine. And there isn't bags of experience. And Davies does bring that, and he's excellent. He's honestly excellent. And I think we all know that left back slot doesn't suit him in an Ange system, the way the fullbacks invert. But I wouldn't have a problem with him going and doing it, to know that he'd give it 100%. He'd give it a go and give his best effort at it. But as centre back, though, was excellent. I could see, I was watching on TV that him and Dragusin were warming up together and working on that kind of partnership. They wouldn't have had long for it, because I think Romero would have been a fairly last-minute call. They probably would have known when he was called back for international duty that he's unlikely to play, but it'd been kind of turned down all week, so they would have had long either way to work together, and I thought they were excellent. And you could have gone, okay, City didn't offer more, but you mentioned it there, Chris, that first 10, 15 minutes or so, City started really well, and that's why the fans were really positive. I thought, oh, no, here we go. And they were moving the ball really quickly. Foden looked amazing in that first 10 minutes, the player that's been missing for several weeks, but where was he for the rest of the game? And I think that's where you've got to give credit to Spurs, because we said, no, you're not playing through us. Okay, you're Man City, every team, even in Man City versus Barcelona, I think Man City still have a good chance of playing through Barcelona's. Yes, City were bad, but they were ready to put behind their bad form today, and we stopped them from doing that. So I think, obviously, people are negative. We'll try and pin this all on Man City, but the reality is this is Spurs' night for a reason. We won this for a reason, and it's not just because Man City weren't good enough. It's because we were really good, and Man City didn't know what to do. There's a reason the Etihad was empty hat at the end, and that's because Spurs turned up and we were very good. So, full credit to the boys and Ange Postecoglou. Davies a very key part of that. His body on the line, everything you want and expect from an experienced defender. He just generally looked really good, real quality. And Dragusin, wobbly start, worried about him a couple of times. Cool, he has a couple of moments. I think that's in his game. But Craig, I agree with you. I think when he steps back, it's a little bit more no-nonsense type of game. I don't think Dragusin's that comfortable on the ball, but in terms of heading, getting rid of it, he is no-nonsense, and you need that. However you play, just sometimes get rid of the ball. And he does that, and we done that today. And, we were excellent. I struggled to find a fault in that entire team. Everyone was, amazing shift. We've had some good performances at times this season. Second half against Villa. I think the 90 minutes against Man United. But for me, there's 94 minutes, we were excellent. We were still going in added time, relentless, and the changes were made. We still look really good, the better team, just honestly excellent. And Davies deserves his credit. Won't get it, but he deserves it.
Harry, let's stay with you, because I feel like this is a key moment in the game after 11 minutes. And you mentioned Radu Dragusin having a bit of a shaky start. He seemed to rush out. Savinho played in Haaland, who shot a goal. Vicario made a great save with his right foot. That was a key moment in the game, because, of course, we'll come on to the first goal in a second. 2 minutes later, Spurs scored. But what a key moment in the game, because if you concede early, i.e. in the first 10, 15 minutes at a stadium like the Etihad, and I tell you what, those fans are not used to losing games, let alone 5 on the trot. But what a great save from Vicario. And as I said at the start of the stream, I feel like he is one of the standout players today. I know you guys have already named a lot of players. You could probably name the whole team, but Vicario did have a good game. What did you make of Vicario's performance, and what a key moment that was?
Yeah, really good, Chris. And I think that was an excellent moment, as you said, really pivotal seeing the outcome of this game, because, say it a lot, one moment defines a lot in a game. As bad as we were against Ipswich, for example, if that Solanke goal stands, you just don't know. You don't know where we'd be in the league table. You don't know the outcome of the result. A lot can change like that in football. So excellent save with Vicario. I mean, Dragusin, that was one of his moments. That and a wild pass, I think, in the second half. I think we might have been 3-0 up by then. It just completely went out of play. You can just tell sometimes the way he shapes his body and isn't quite comfortable on the ball. But he rushed out there, and Vicario stayed calm, something he's been criticised not for doing. I think at times, rightly so. I suppose you do say you have to be nuts to be a goalkeeper. He certainly is that. And it did worry as the time, wasn't it, the second half, we come rushing out when Porro was heading it back, and I was like, oh no, here we go. He's going to wipe him out, Gazaniga style against Chelsea with his foot. But no, he stayed calm and got it right, and won the foul in the end. So no, he was excellent, Vicario, and that was a great save with his feet. David De Gea, so really impressive from him. Good save. Obviously, Haaland did have his chances today. I think some will say he's wasteful, but I'll just say really good defender, and he got frustrated. So he was trying to take every opportunity. I don't think he'd done necessarily anything wrong. We just limited City's supply to him, even with De Bruyne, with Jack Grealish, Bernardo Silva. There's quality players there, Gundogan, wherever you look. So, yes, without Rodri, but that team on paper from City is very good, and arguably probably better than ours on paper, considering the players we had out. So that, again, is credit to Ange for utilising what he has to work with, and the players are going out there and going, do you know what? let's put the Ipswich loss behind us. Because one thing that fans have criticised the Spurs team for, and I think they're right to do so, is we don't respond to setbacks. That's something we've never done. When we lose one, we tend to lose 2, 3 in a row. We saw that. We've seen that recently. 2 losses in a row, for example. It was like Galatasaray, can we respond? No. So we've done that really well in this game. So real credit to the boys. Vicario, that moment in particular, really good, and he was excellent and deserved his clean sheet. We need to be seeing more clean sheets, because I think I love the way we play, and regardless of where you stand with Ange and whether he's the right manager to win or not, I think you could put a good debate either way. Regardless, I think you have to get behind him now, but I think you could put a good debate either way. But you have to get behind him at this moment in time. We have to recognise we have to keep more clean sheets. So today, really good offensively, but also really good defensively, and we deserve that clean sheet. Just need to get more of them now. Push on from this.
Harry, lastly, what do you make of all the criticism for Ange Postecoglou? There's been a lot.
Yeah, there's been a lot, and I think post Ipswich, I think that's when a lot of fans turned. You can understand it. That result wasn't expected, and we were bad. And I was like, to be honest with you, our record so far this season hasn't been good, because at the time we'd lost the same amount of games as Ipswich. Obviously, we still have Ipswich left to play this weekend, and it wasn't good if you looked at the games apart from that 10-game start at the period. So I was still fully behind Ange after that Ipswich loss, but it did raise questions to me about consistency, about the future, that we're not getting the job done. Are we just really bad? There's times where we've lost, like where we haven't turned up. Yes, and this was one of them. We just weren't good, and Palace was one as well. It makes you question the manager. I think we have a really reactionary fan base, if I may say so. The only club I think we do, and it's not helped by the inconsistency of the team. So together, that's not a very good spell, if you like. So there's been a lot of criticism of Ange. Some of it, of course, is justified. Maybe if it be around him not doing enough, like Brighton loss comes to me, where his in-game management hasn't been good enough. But to say generally he hasn't got good in-game management wouldn't be fair, because we've seen once again today that he can influence the game. I think he's done it at Old Trafford. There's been several times where he's got it right. So get behind Ange, regardless of where you sit with him. I don't believe there's any benefit for any team getting rid of the manager unless they're causing real disruption in the dressing room or they're really toxic. There's no benefit getting rid of them halfway through a season. In Spurs' case, I don't think fans can sit here and go, it's wrong we haven't won a trophy after 16 years, but I want to sack Ange, because you're just going back to square one and you're completely contradicting, for me, what you're saying. So we're all frustrated, no trophy in 16 years, but by sacking someone mid-season is just going to put you back to square one. This is Ange's team now, slowly but surely. A few more transfer windows, consistency will come for the end of the season. You just got to be patient. Rome wasn't built like that. And I know Arsenal Arteta recently be going for a sticky patch. Obviously, did win today, but they stuck with him. They ignored the fans, and they're like, hang on, we know better. We work with Arteta closely, and they were spot on to do so, and they backed him. And that was the right decision to do so. And I do think, sadly, that the trophies will eventually come, hopefully not this year or anytime soon, or hopefully not at all. But I think that was the right decision. So some of it, of course, is justified, Chris. We have people that are over the top, but there'll be some people we won't hear from tonight because we've won. And that says all you need to know. Yeah.
Well, Stu, fantastic comment here. I completely agree, Stu. A small percentage of criticism was reasonable. The loudest of it has been totally unreasonable. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Craig, let's come to you. After 13 minutes, Spurs, of course, took the lead against the run of play, if you like. Kulusevski, what a fantastic cross. And I'll tell you what, how fantastic has Kulusevski been this season? He seems to be a completely different player. He said midweek during international break how hungry he was. Cross from the right-hand side, Maddison there, fantastic cross, fantastic finish. Talk us through the goal, because that was a wonderful moment.
Yeah, I suppose it was against the run of play, really. I mean, they were battering us that first 5-10 minutes. And as you say, it would have been a completely different game if they'd managed to score them, but we held off. And at that point, it was weird. I kind of thought, do you know what? We could go at the other end and score it. I could just see us doing it. It would be such us. And Kulusevski gets the ball, and this was analysed on Sky Sports. Kyle Walker was a bit too far up the pitch. And so he was slightly out of position. And Kulusevski's cross, it was just pinpoint. That run by Maddison as well. Straight through the midfield. He said he'd made a few of those this season, but either not got the ball or actually missed the chance. So, but it's all in the delivery. Maddison don't have to break stride. Left foot finish past Edison. So it was just phenomenal all round. You know, the break, the run by Kulusevski. He is not the quickest, but he just seems to beat people with his skill. You know, through the legs, finds himself a yard. Looks. What I've noticed about Kulusevski, he's always got his head up. He has always got his head up. That's what he's really improved on.
The vision, the vision
yeah.
and decision making. I think, Craig, because how many times on the podcast since he signed for us and since we've been doing this podcast, how many times have we said in that final third his decision making hasn't been that great? But this season, he seems to be a completely different player. Completely agree with you.
Completely, and that's all obviously comes in with the training as well. I don't know if we've got the image of that goal, Chris, have we?
They are all over the place, Craig. So I'll try and find.
I was just going to say
that rush today. I'm sorry.
No. That's fine. I know manic it is, but there's a point where he cuts inside Gvardiol, because Gvardiol, if you see it, I can't remember who makes one. Might have been Porro, and Gvardiol's sort of in two minds whether to go with Porro or go with Kulusevski. I think that's the second goal. Forget it. Don't worry.
Award-winning podcast has gone to pot today. Sorry,
it's gone. It's because I didn't put them up, isn't it? That's what it was. So look, Gvardiol didn't have a very good game either today, did he? But Kulusevski found that yard of space, got his head up, crossed the ball, and brilliant finish from Maddison on his 28th birthday.
Absolutely. After 18 minutes, a trademark shot. Heung-min Son cutting in. It looked like it was going to go top corner. Edison made a great save. Kate, let's come to you on this one. Heung-min Son. I thought it was going to go straight in, top corner. We've seen it many, many times before with Heung-min Son. What did you make of Son's performance today?
Do you know what? He had another shot like that a few weeks ago. I can't remember what game it was against. I was trying to remember. But I was convinced that was going in. I was already up in the air and screaming my head off. But I thought Sonny was excellent. I think he looked sharp. He was everywhere he needed to be. I think that Ange got it spot on when he took him off at that time. I think that was the right time to take him off. Obviously, he's not getting any younger. We've got to look after him and watch his minutes, but he was very alert and very creative, and like I say, getting in all the right spaces is so tricky when you watch him go around players. I love to watch him when he's like that. He looked like he's getting back to his best, which is what we want to see. I mean, he's been unlucky with his injuries, but yeah, like I say, I think Ange picked the perfect time to take him off. But the first half, I thought he was excellent. Like you say, it's difficult to really criticise any players today because there wasn't really a bad performer on the pitch. They were all excellent on their day. And I include Sonny in that. And I thought it was a captain's performance as well. And, you know, we were talking the other day about leaders on the pitch. I thought Sonny was excellent. I thought Maddison was an excellent leader on the pitch today. I don't know whether it was because he'd had a lot of birthday cake and he was feeling a little bit hyper, but he was really G'ing everybody up. He was giving directions and leading by example, and that's what we want to see. So that was refreshing, and hopefully we can make it Madda's birthday every week so that we get performances like this week in, week out.
Kate, it's great recording a podcast, not criticising any of our players. I love that. I love doing that. After 20 minutes, of course, we went 2-0 up. Maddison, again, what a finish over Edison. A fantastic finish, very clever finish. Heung-min Son, of course, got the assist. What do you think of Madders today? Because how many times have I heard in the last couple of weeks, particularly on this podcast, and you see it on social media, Maddison needs to be a leader. Maddison needs to show up. Maddison needs to step up to the plate and deliver. He certainly delivered today, didn't he?
Yeah, and do you know what? I'm one of Maddison's biggest criticisers. Anyone who watches my channel, I'm not his biggest fan. I didn't want him at Spurs. Jim's always wanted him at Spurs. I've always thought he was quite sulky and, you know, he gets injured a lot. And I said, I was having this discussion the other day with Jim. This is what we do on the channel. We basically go live and argue. I was saying that I think Maddison has been a little bit of a flop, and he was saying that I was stupid. So, but on days like today, this is what I want to see. You know, the first 10 games of the season, again, I go back to it last season, Maddison was excellent, and I was eating my words. And today, I thought Maddison was phenomenal. All the rumours that he's fallen out with Ange are ridiculous, in my opinion, because you've only got to watch how he played today to know that that wasn't true. His little tricks, he set it up. I think he controlled it with his right and tapped it in with his left. It was just poetry in motion, really. It was absolutely brilliant from Maddison. One of the best performances I think we've seen from him, and certainly I think his best performance as a leader, because he was showing them how they need to play. And all we need now from him is consistency, like we do from everybody else. Because if we've got a Maddison that plays like that week in, week out, we've got a real player on our hands with him. Because for some reason, if Kulu plays well, Maddison tends to play well. They tend to bounce off each other. And if they both play well, we've got a really good pair in there. And I thought Maddison today was excellent. I thought Kulu was excellent. I know Maddison got man of the match because he got both the goals. For me, I would have just edged it to Kulusevski just because I thought he was magnificent. But yeah, Maddison was phenomenal. And I just hope that he can stay fit and we can see more of this, because when he plays like this, he is a wonderful player and he perfectly fits Ange's system when he plays like he did today.
Absolutely. Harry, do you want to come in and give your thoughts on the 2 goals, the first 2?
Yeah, really nice. I mean, I think first goal was lovely, but the second goal for me was something else. I think from an individual perspective, James Maddison, I thought was really good. That work with Son and that beautiful finish. But the first goal was lovely from Kulusevski as well. I think that was absolutely beautiful. So yeah, no, both goals were really, really nice. And that's the thing. They were executed perfectly. Not only have we done well to break out of Man City pressure, but we've executed it perfectly, which is really hard to do. And we've seen, smaller teams, for example, they go to City, they get one chance, maybe 2. And 9 times out of 10, they can't take them, or they might score once. We were excellent, and we always look like scoring when going forward, and we just didn't against Ipswich. That's the reality. We didn't look like scoring the entire game. So what a complete contrast in this. So yeah, 2 really well taken individually and team goals, Chris, in both ways. So really nice to see the way we break. Kulusevski was absolutely excellent. He loves playing against Man City. So does Son, who's involved obviously in the second goal as well. So no, really impressive from the defensive players. And Craig said it earlier, now the second most goals in the Premier League behind Liverpool. So that's impressive. So there's no problem offensively. And defensively, our numbers aren't awful either. So that supports the point of getting behind Ange. Slowly the consistency will come together. And when he says we are better than last year, and people they look at the table and go, that's not true. It is true, because we're conceding less goals, we're scoring more, and when we are at our best, we're looking even better than ever. It's just slowly about gluing it together. So yeah, all good.
Harry, let's stay with you. After 22 minutes, cross from the left, Haaland hit it first time over the bar. A couple of minutes later, Heung-min Son cross, which was blocked. On 27 minutes, Phil Foden had a shot that was wide. I tell you, they were very wasteful in that final third today, City. A minute later, good Spurs move. Heung-min Son playing a nice ball to Solanke, who shot, saved the fingertips by Edison. What did you make of Dominic Solanke's performance today? Because there seems to be this narrative, particularly in the media, that he's not scoring enough goals. Does that bother you that he is not getting on the score sheet in games like this? Because the amount of pressing, the amount of work off the ball that he is doing is incredible. Do the stats of the goal numbers, does it worry you?
Absolutely not. It worries me that the media highlighting it. To be honest with you, Chris, this is coming from someone that works obviously a non-paid role in the media now. So no, I'm not concerned at all. He's been absolutely excellent. That West Ham win, for example, was the perfect example of that. For me, the best player on the pitch. Created probably, I think, 3, maybe even 4 of those goals. Was excellent, but didn't get a goal or assist. But it doesn't matter today. I think he got an assist, didn't he? For Porro's goal. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was excellent today. His hold-up plays, work rate, he starts to press. And it's just everything you want. And it's just a really key signing. And yeah, I think there are faults in the previous transfer window. And at times maybe with the owners, the way they go about business. But Solanke was a fantastic signing, and it was an Ange signing. And I do really believe that a player that was well worth the money and has been a massive benefit to us. And that's why I think we're actually we get more points in the end, I think, to be honest with you, than last season. Because I look at things like that and go, Solanke clinical. There's so many games last season we couldn't get that second goal. We proved today, we proved several times this year, Villa, West Ham, whatever it may be, that the goals are not the problem. Killing the games are not the problem. It's the lapse in concentration that's the problem. So we've solved probably our biggest problem of last year. So that really reassures me. But no, really, really happy, Chris. And I'm not worried about Solanke at all. I think it's a lazy comment, to be honest with you. And I watched the overlap. I think it was a fan. I can't remember what club brought it up about Solanke, and it is just a lazy comment from people who don't watch Spurs. And I get it. You look at the stats; it doesn't look great. And the bigger picture is important. He's a key ingredient to wins like today and consistently good performances. It's not about the numbers. And Kate said it earlier, spot on. Don't get hooked up in the stats because they give you some good information sometimes. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the full story. If you look at stats, you get the wrong impression. And I used to say that of Harry Kane when he didn't get goals and assists. Sometimes he's the best player on the pitch. He's passing and his involvements in goals. Well, no better example than today with Solanke. So, no, one of the best players for me so far this season. No worry at all.
And City, to be fair, when Haaland doesn't score or play well, he seems to not play well when he doesn't score. What else does Haaland do? So, Solanke's bringing something to the team. Yeah. I'm not sure what Haaland brings when he's not scoring. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, spot on.
Yeah. Well said, Harry. Well said, Craig. On 30 minutes, Udogie played a bad pass. It put City in, and it was a bad pass to Haaland. Those sorts of things we need to iron out in games like that because, had City have scored, it would have been a completely different game. On 36 minutes, Savinho with a shot from outside the box, Vicario with another save. On 42 minutes, down the right again, Kulusevski involved, out to Bissouma, who shot over the bar. 2 minutes from half-time, Silva cross, Foden over the bar. At half-time, Craig, it was 2-0. How are you feeling at that point? Because I tell you what, how I was feeling is that the first 10, 15, 20 minutes of that second half, do not let City score. You expect that Pep Guardiola is going to go in that changing room, give his players an absolute rollicking. They're going to come out, all guns blazing, and they're going to start that second half well. How are you feeling at that point?
Firstly, Chris, how many people we got watching tonight at the moment? Did you see the live figures?
We've got 2,500 people watching live, and there's 7,000 people who watch the stream so far.
That is phenomenal. Just do us a favour, everyone. There's a little symbol that looks like that. Just go and smash that for us. It don't cost anything. There was actually a moment before half time. You may have touched on it. Sonny had the ball on the left-hand side of the penalty area, and it was on his left foot. And I thought, just smash it, just absolutely smash it. And he cut back inside, and he was tackled. And I thought, we don't live to regret that. But at that point, just before half-time, I thought, get to the half without conceding. Because how many times do you hear it? And whether you've played non-league, park football, whatever, it's a bad time to concede a goal just before the half. We didn't. But like you, Chris, I thought, they're going to come out at us in the second half, and we've just got to withstand that because I had Brighton going through my head, like
I'm
everybody
sure a lot
else.
of people did, yeah.
And I was saying that to the family watching. I said, look, I've just got horrible thoughts of Brighton. And look, you're not a Spurs fan if you weren't still on the edge of your seat 93 minutes into that game, thinking. Because my mate texted me and he said it was about on 90 minutes, and he said, "Why am I still nervous? It's Tottenham. That's what we do, especially against a team like City, because you just never know when they're going to turn it on." But they didn't. But did we actually not allow them to turn it on? I don't think City played terrible. I really don't think City played terrible. I just think we were phenomenal. And that's the key, isn't it? Sometimes teams you're playing against, they play absolute crap. And then you just play your normal game or a little bit better than your normal game and you beat them. I think it was different today. This is the champions of England, This is Manchester City, but we've held, we stopped them getting into the spaces they wanted to get. Shut down that middle of the park, let them have it out wide, and we'll deal with the crosses coming in, which we did with aplomb. Every single man in that defence done brilliantly at doing that today. clearing every single cross, more or less. And Haaland didn't really have a sniff in that second half, from what I can remember. Might have been a couple of half chances, but really he was snuffed out. And you didn't really hear Foden's name at all in the second half. You kind of forget this sort of thing when you look back on it. That's why I'm looking forward to Match of the Day. I know you didn't see the whole game, but, you know, just to see how we snuffed out City. And they kind of run out of ideas. Yes, they were having a bit of possession and coming forward, but they did. I wasn't absolutely thinking in that second half, oh, God, you know, we're going to concede in a minute. We're going to concede in a minute. It just felt that the more the game went on, this was going to be our day. But yes, I was on the edge of my seat, obviously, because you wouldn't be a Tottenham fan if you didn't think that.
I think a lot of people, if not most people, would have agreed with you there, Craig, and felt the same. At half-time, Stones came off for City, Ake came on. But 7 minutes into the second half, Spurs took a 3-0 lead at the Etihad. Pedro Porro, of course, scoring. Now, the timing of this pass, Craig, let's stay with you on this. The timing of this pass from Kulusevski to Dominic Solanke, back to then Pedro Porro. The timing of the pass was absolutely superb. The vision again, the timing of the pass, absolutely superb. And this is what I mean about the improvement from someone like Dejan Kulusevski, because the amount of times that we've spoken on this podcast, particularly in the last couple of years, about the timing of the pass being wrong, it seems like everything he is doing this season, he is getting everything right. But that was superb, wasn't it?
It was, and I think he did a little nutmeg just before the halfway line, actually, which is always nice to see. But again, yeah, had his head up, run on a little bit with it, looked up, he had two runners, Solanke acres of space, and I actually thought he'd overhit it a little bit, but Solanke got onto it, took a touch, passed back to Porro, smash straight in the goal. Brilliant. It was a really, really good goal. Ange would have absolutely loved that, in behind the defence. And when you do play balls like that, they're kind of undefendable, to be honest. And the finish from Porro, I mean, I'm dead pleased because I've kept him in my fantasy team since the start, so that's got me a fair few points. I've also got Haaland, but I'm not going to be gutted that he didn't score today. It's just absolutely look at him there. Yeah. Benefit of people on audio. There's a picture of Maddison, Porro, and Solanke sitting on the floor. I'm guessing one of the players perhaps passed their driving test this week. I don't know what that celebration's all about.
Well, we're in the driving seat. That's what it's all about, Craig.
Oh, it might be. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it could be that, couldn't it? But yeah. Porro obviously was quite respectful with his celebration at first, but then he sits on the floor and does that. So I don't think he cares much, really. But yeah. I took Maddison out my dream team. Jesus. Oh, that would have been a lot of points. Never mind. We won 4-0. Who cares?
Kate, let's come to you. Do you want to give your views on the third goal? Because it's nice to see Pedro Porro on the score sheet again. Seems to be a very good finisher, doesn't
he? Yeah. I mean, it's and a fantastic crosser of the ball as well. But I mean, the build-up for that goal, I thought Kulu was sensational. The way it's like he lost the ball, but won the ball and went round a few players and then passed it over to Solanke, passed it into Porro. It was just a brilliant build-up goal and great to see Porro score. It's always good for their confidence because I think he's been getting a little bit of stick lately. I mean, everybody gets stick, let's be fair. But, there is an argument that Porro would be good as in a more forward role rather than in defence because he's a fantastic crosser with the ball, as I said, and would make a great winger. But at the minute, while he's doing what he's doing, I say let him carry on. He's not terrible in defence. He has moments where he's a little bit shaky, but then in an offensive position, he's brilliant. So look, I could just wax lyrical about these players tonight. I'm still buzzing. I keep thinking I'm going to sort of get a slap in the face in a minute. It's all going to be a bit of a dream that we've just sort of won 4-0 at the, as they're calling it, the deck he had now, because Kulusevski seems to love playing there. But no, it was, like I say, it was an excellent goal and good to see Porro score again. And, I was a little bit gutted Bissouma's didn't go in because he does like to score a rocket from outside the box. But, we'll take 4-0. 5-0 would have just been greedy, let's be fair.
Okay, I know you don't like stats, but those stats that I brought up on screen and read out earlier on the stream, Manchester City did have a lot of the ball. They had a lot of the ball in our box. They had a lot of shots as well. They were very wasteful in front of the goal. In the 60th minute, Bissouma lost the ball. Haaland turned and hit the top of the crossbar. Were you surprised on how wasteful City were in front of goal today? Because we know, you don't ever write the champions Manchester City off, but they were very wasteful, weren't they? They had a lot of opportunities.
They did, and I was expecting them to come back today, and I thought with Pep signing his new contract, we're going to have a real reaction from their players. But you know what? Something just doesn't seem like it's right at Manchester City at the minute, and I don't know what it is. I totally agree with what Craig said. If Haaland isn't scoring goals, I don't really think he does anything else. He's not like Harry Kane that will go and defend. He's very much their goal scorer and a fantastic goal scorer he is. But, maybe it weighs on their heads that we are their bogey team. We know that when Spurs go to Chelsea most of the time, or at least it used to be, that we were beaten before we set foot on the pitch because we know that we don't win at Chelsea, So maybe there's an element of that, and the fact that we knocked them out of the cup a few weeks previous. They might be feeling the pressure because Liverpool are getting quite a commanding lead at the top of the table. It could be a mixture of things, It could just be that we are that good that we just scared them into making loads of mistakes. That's the narrative I'm choosing to believe. But one City a couple of seasons ago when they were in their pomp. I mean, I say in their pomp, they've just come off a 4P, but you know what I mean. When they were playing their very best football, would never have been missing those chances. So I can't help but think that there's something not right in the centre of City. But that doesn't take away from the fact that we were magnificent today. But I was shocked that they didn't at least put one of those chances away.
Have they got Liverpool next week, or is it Arsenal? I know they've got a tough game next week, haven't they?
Yeah, it's Liverpool at Anfield.
Well, forget that question.
That could be 6.
Forget that, Craig. This is a more important question. Did you keep Timo Werner in your fantasy team?
As much as I won't slag off Timo Werner too much, he was never in it. There's the answer to
that. There's no slating of any Tottenham player today, particularly Timo.
No, Timo Werner. Timo Werner. Yeah. Honestly, that cross, and I would love to have a little talk about that when we come to it, because how he skinned Carl Walker, my word.
Yeah.
All right. We'll come to you on that one in a minute. Harry, let's come to you. After 63 minutes, of course, Captain Heung-min Son went off. Werner and Johnson came on. A minute later, Gavardio shot over the bar for City. 2 minutes later, what a chance to make it 4-0. Dejan Kulusevski, his shot was saved. That would have just been the icing on the cake for him personally, wouldn't it? Him scoring at the Etihad today.
Yeah, it would have been, and he said Decky hat earlier. I mean, he's absolutely superb there, and it would have been the icing on the cake. I think, regardless, he'd be really happy with his individual performance and his start to the season. As I said it already, for me, our player of the season, we've had some standouts in there. I mentioned Solanke earlier. I think for the first few games, he's got to be up there. But Kulusevski, for me, is the one adapted to a new position. That's where the credit lies with the manager, though, for identifying his best position, giving it a go. Would have seen, quite bold change of position. Also, that flexibility to look. Okay, that's your best position today. We need you. This is where you're going to hurt Manchester City best. That's exactly what happened. So no, he was excellent. It would have been the icing on the cake for him, but it isn't. How it went. But you mentioned their Son coming off as well, and there was time later on, wasn't there? We made quite a lot of changes, and I was worried about how we kind of respond to that, because we all know in football, too many changes, a bit disjointed, it could easily go wrong. And in particular, when City brought on Grealish and De Bruyne, which I'm sure we'll get onto, then there was a little bit of me that thought had a chance straight after that. The save by Vicario was if they score. You know what we're like. It only takes one goal. I try not to think about it too much. So we've done really well to adapt to that, and the players who've come on done really well. Obviously, we will get on to Timo Werner, obviously a very key part of that, with Johnson as well at the back post. But no, he done really well. And to touch on Son, I think we've got to look, got to be careful with him. We don't want him to get injured. We will have a problem if he does, especially with the likes of Odegaard and Richarlison now. So it's a sensible thing. They've seemed strange at the time, but you've got to protect him. He's not getting any younger. He puts unreal effort in for the team as a captain. And for me, it's absolutely the right decision. He's committed as well with country and club. Always gives 110%. So you've just got to watch for sure, because of course you don't want any player injured. We know maybe not today, but generally someone like Van der Ven and the system, absolutely massive when he's out. I think Son is massive in terms of players that we've got unavailable. So that was the correct decision. But Kulusevski, superb today. For me, man of the match. You know, you can make your case for anyone, but for me, Kulusevski just edges it.
Harry, I'll stay with you, but before we go on to the next one, Vindaloo writes here, and this is another win. Arsenal fan Vindaloo. Well played, people. Well done. That is another.
He's a great guy. He comes into my chat every day. He gives it, but he takes it, and he's very magnanimous. So he did back us to win today. I think he had a nice one at about £500. So that's why he's very happy.
It is. I've always found it a bit weird that other teams, for supporters of other teams, watch channels, but it just goes to show perhaps how good this channel is. Dare I say that other team supporters come and watch us, because I know a few of them as well. They prefer it when we lose coming on here, but my friend who watches is a West Ham fan, and he says he likes watching because we're balanced and it's not screamy, shouty. It's professional. It's good analysis, and it's just a good listen. So we must be doing something right, I suppose.
Yeah, it was professional up until I paused the pictures up today, so apologies about that.
I was going to mention it, but you know.
Yeah, I know you will.
Let's breeze over that.
Actually, as you've mentioned it, we did actually have a very nice message from a Wolves fan and a West Ham fan in the last couple of days, congratulating us on the bronze award at the Football Content Awards. So it is very nice that a lot of other fans do come on here and listen to us talking about Tottenham. So thank you so much for all of your incredible support. Harry, what I wanted to ask you about, because you touched on this, about Heung-min Son's game time. Of course, he came off after 63 minutes. It seems that South Korea and Tottenham are managing his game time extremely well, which I feel is very, very important, given that the injuries that he's had.
Yeah, it's something, to be honest with you, that hasn't been done in the past. I think we've played him too much, and South Korea played him too much. There's been seasons, hasn't there, where he's played pretty much every minute of it. And it was one season in particular, a year or two ago, where he played every game, I think, but one, where he missed out through illness last minute. So that, you know, just shows him he's a real committed player, and it's easy to get. You know, we see with Rodri with City, someone who just wants to play every game, will not settle for being on the bench. Massive injury after the season. He talked about there being too many games. I think he was spot on. New games with the new European format as well. So yeah, we've got to protect our best players, and whether it be Son, Van der Ven, whoever it may be. Obviously, Van der Ven out this time. We've got to protect Romero better. And sometimes I know players are keen to play for their clubs internationally. Totally get that. Like Romero will come up a lot. But sometimes you've got to go. The benefit of our players, let's not go. And Arsenal, you know, didn't take, for example, don't like to use them as an example. They didn't send Bryce or Saka. They don't, you know, there's players that they often pull out. And, you know, some people get frustrated with that. But if you think about it, that's probably the right thing to do for the benefit of the club. As much as the players want to go, I mean, Romero in this case, we don't know the situation, but for me, it seems like he's gone and it wasn't 100% and aggravated his injury. So hopefully he's back as soon as possible. But it, you know, without him today, it could have been tough. Luckily, we dealt with what we were given the situation really well. But yeah, they managed Son's minutes really well. A great player, says it here. For people who can't see, Son was a great team player. C-Class says that, and I think absolutely spot on. A real team player, and some people say we lack leaders, and I'm a believer of that. But I think Son is what you want in a captain in terms of people look up to him. Ange's just spoken about that in the past. Kate, you mentioned it earlier. I'm glad I'm not the only one who picked up on it about Maddison. Maybe I think more than usual, real leader, and it has, you know, demonstrated good leadership at times this season. Whether it will be letting Richarlison take the penalty, maybe begrudgingly at the start, but realised that it's the right thing to do, took that responsibility on as a captain. So from Maddison, just need to see that consistency now. But from Son, minutes been managed really well. So hopefully we can keep him fit. He's a player that doesn't get injured a lot. Hopefully I don't curse it now.
Craig, let's come to you. On 69 minutes, Vicario cross, Haaland over the bar yet again. 5 minutes later, Grealish and De Bruyne on, Salvinio and Lewis off. And then on 77 minutes, a chance for Gundogan. A great save from Vicario, which again was a huge moment, because at that point, if City got a goal, you don't know what would have happened. It could have been a great comeback for them, particularly with the crowd getting behind them at that point with 13 minutes still to go. 2 minutes later, a chance for Haaland. Vicario saved yet again, a one-handed save, an incredible save from Vicario. That is someone who I feel that has been really criticised, particularly this season, Vicario. As far as shot stopping, though, this season, he's been incredible, hasn't he?
He has, and look, he didn't have a particularly comfortable international break either. People forget that he got a bit of criticism in the international break. He scored an own goal, I believe. I haven't seen it, but didn't particularly go well for him. So you could have forgiven him for coming back and not having the confidence to go to the City and perform, but he did. He was outstanding today. I think he's one of the best shot stoppers in the league. I think there's still other elements of his game that he needs to work on, but that will come. I think he's 28 now, 27, 28. So for a goalkeeper, he's still got many, many years ahead of him. He just looked commanding today. He had that look that goalkeepers get sometimes, that you're not going to get anything past me today. And the more saves you make as a goalkeeper, Chris, I know you used to be a keeper, the more saves you make, the more confident you get. Very strong wrists today as well, because there was a fair few one-handed saves there. Good agility, good positioning, footwork was correct, in the right positions to stop that Haaland one, especially in the second half you're talking about. And did well from set pieces as well. Obviously, we didn't concede, so again, they had a fair few corners. So we defended them very well today. So I think Vicario, that's going to do his confidence a world of good, an absolute world of good, going to the Etihad and keeping the clean sheet, and it just really does bode well. I was a bit concerned when he went down because I think Porro gave him a bit of a dodgy header in the first half, didn't he? And I don't know if he twisted his ankle or he got stood on a bit, but obviously he got up. It was just a knock. The one, I think around that time, I was a bit concerned with Udogie, so I don't know if anybody knows. Has anybody said what happened to Udogie? Whether was it just a knock or whatever? So because obviously he's a very important player for us, but really good to see Jed Spence come in and back. So we've got Jed there. Shame he's not available for the week. We could talk till the cows come home about Jed not being in the Europe squad, but yeah, everything was good today, which is good. Absolutely no complaints or anything to moan about today, which is absolutely lovely to talk about or not talk about.
Well, after 84 minutes, Jack Grealish crossed for Bernardo Silva, who shot first time over the bar. A minute later, Gavardio over the bar. As I said, they were very wasteful today, City. At that point, the amount of City fans leaving the Etihad, they are not used to losing 5 out of 5, let alone going on this bad streak. A minute from time, Ange made a treble sub. Maddison off, gave the armband to Vicario. Udogie and Sarr also came off. Bergvall, Spence and Timo Werner came on. Radu Dragushin, brilliant defending in the 91st minute, hitting it over the bar. Haaland was just behind him. And in stoppage time, Craig, let's stay with you on this. Werner and Johnson getting Tottenham's 4th goal, but what a cross from Timo Werner. I tell you what, Timo Werner has taken an absolute battering on this channel, on social media. Everywhere you go, everyone's battering Timo Werner. Come on, give the man some praise today.
It'd be my pleasure to do that. What I would say, just going back to that Dragushin thing, how he got that over the bar, that was absolutely phenomenal defending by Dragushin, and you could see how happy he was and everybody else was that he did that. That could have been an uncomfortable last few minutes, of course. Coming on Timo Werner, I can't remember who played the ball through to him, but it was the weirdest thing. You saw almost the fear in Kyle Walker's eyes that he's up against Timo Werner and he's knackered. But Kyle Walker kind of took a step towards him and then stopped. And I thought, go Timo, go round the outside of him. And for everything he's done, he's messed up this season sometimes, Timo Werner. He had that confidence to drive, and my word, did he drive at Kyle Walker and absolutely skinned him. Kyle Walker's absolutely nowhere. Didn't even look up. You watch it back. Timo Werner knew exactly where he was on the pitch, knew exactly where he wanted to put it, rolled it with pace across the box. And I was actually on my feet because I see Werner and Johnson charging in at the far post just to tap it in. Celebrating before it was in the goal. Absolutely phenomenal cross. Lovely little tap-in finish for Werner and Johnson. Another goal for Werner and Johnson, of course. And that just sealed the deal. Puts the icing on the cake and the cherry and the whipped cream and anything else you want to sling on top of the cake. And Timo Werner, to see him sitting on the floor doing this, absolutely brilliant.
I like this version of you, Craig.
Well, they should win every bloody. Well, they should win every bloody week 4-0 then. You know, no, it was just great. It was just great. Because it just sealed the deal, didn't it? It took all that stress. All right, you know, we had effectively won the game by then, but to get a fourth goal, it was just phenomenal. If that Decky one had gone in as well, 5-0, crikey. If I was a City fan, wow, you know, next week, like you say, away at Anfield, Liverpool are going to be jumping up and down. The fact of that result today. Wow.
Can you imagine if there's someone out there who's actually put a bet on today, 4-0 Tottenham at City?
There will be. There always is. There always is.
Yeah,
there was a guy I knew always used to bet 5-0 Tottenham win, and of course it never ever happens. But it will happen. It always does. It always does. Put a tenner on that each week. Wow.
Before we come on to talk about the upcoming week against Roma and Fulham, just wanted to ask you, Kate, how important you feel it is that to have someone like Werner and Johnson who can, you know, score a goal, provide an assist. You know, we seem to have the game changers. It's quite often spoken about on this podcast that we haven't got enough game changers, but it's nice to see the players coming off the bench making that difference and score another goal for us.
Yeah, like I say, I expected Brennan to start, but we all know that he's been really good as an impact sub for us as well as when he started. So it's nice to have those options. Obviously, we've got some injuries as well. Otherwise, I've no doubt that probably Benton Kerr, if he wasn't suspended, probably would have started today. So, you know, it's brilliant. I think there's still room for some more. Obviously, we had a couple of the academy players on the bench today. I think there's still some space in that squad where we need to get a couple more players that are of that quality, so that there's game changers there for us. But yeah, I mean, brilliant that Ange can bring on Brennan Johnson and the legend, of course, that is Timo Werner to put the icing and the cherry and the whipped cream and the hundreds and thousands on the top of the cake at the end of the game, because so many times we've sat and moaned that our bench is so weak. You know, we used to have Davies and Dyer and Højbjerg and players that, in my opinion, were not suitable for the system. I'm excluding Davies now, and just needed upgrading. And like I say, I think Ange, this is why he needs time, because he's got to build his squad, and he's only had, you know, what is it, 3 windows he's had? Is it 3 or 2? 3. 3? Is it 3 or 2 windows? It's 3, right?
3, yeah.
3.
I'm losing track of my brain. So it's going to take time for him to get exactly what he wants, but we're going in the right direction. People just got to, you know, just keep calm. Don't overreact if we lose. Stay calm, Jim, if we win. And just, you know, I'm sure Ange is going to go in the right direction. And I think I can actually smell trophy polish coming this way.
Oh, wow. We're really going there, are we?
Chris,
Why not?
Jim's got to you, I think. Within the last month, though, Kate, talking about Timo Werner, of course, scoring against City, now assisting in the Premier League at the Etihad, that, you know, all joking aside, this will do his confidence the world of good, won't it?
Oh, massively. And do you know what? I hate when players are scapegoated, and I get it. I know he hasn't been that great for us, but there is a player in there. You know, he scored a lot of goals in the Bundesliga. He was successful with Chelsea, and I'm not one of these people who believe that he's just lost his ability, but I do think he's completely devoid of confidence. And we're Spurs fans, so everyone that puts on that shirt needs our backing. And now all the time he's assisting and scoring. That's only going to be good for his confidence, and that's only going to be good for the team. So, yeah, I'm absolutely delighted for him. I'm delighted for Brennan as well, because he, you know, got all that abuse. And I just find it incredible that any fan of this club would be that abusive and critical of someone that plays for the club you support. You know, to me, it's mind-blowing. But look, it is what it is. Let them keep proving the doubters wrong. That's what I say.
Harry, let's come to you. And this is the last question, by the way. We'll try and wrap it up pretty sharpish, because we're going to do a match preview for the Roma game midweek. So the Roma game, of course, takes place on Thursday in the Europa League. And then, of course, we face Fulham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday. Harry, how do you see this week going? How many changes do you feel like Ange Postecoglou is going to make? Roma are currently sitting 20th in the Europa League table, 5 points from 4 games. Spurs are 7th in the Europa League table, played 4, won 3, lost 1. And Roma at the moment in the Serie A table are 12th in the table, 13 points from 12 games. And of course, Fulham got beaten by Wolves today, 4-1 at home. How do you see these games going?
We just never know with Spurs, do you? You don't know what's ahead. Who would have predicted that Man City and Villa week? Who would have predicted the week before the international break with Galatasaray and Ipswich as well in the same week? I think maybe Galatasaray, but certainly not Ipswich. So you just don't know with Spurs at all. But Roma, obviously it's worth noting, now appointed Claudio Ranieri. And obviously, yes, they haven't started the season very well. That was the right thing they needed to do. They have a boost ahead of it. Obviously, wouldn't have long with the players before playing us. So that's a positive to bear in mind. So I do fancy us in that game. I think you can make a few changes and be okay. Obviously, be interested to see when Romero returns. We're hearing that it should be this week. I don't think he quite make the Roma game, but they'd be nonetheless interesting to see. So maybe a couple of changes. I'd start Werner, who we talked about obviously earlier. While he's got momentum, a player I just don't get why he gets the criticism he does. Again, we talk about scapegoats, lazy criticism. Werner, for me, totally with Kate. Never lost his ability. It's just a confidence thing, purely. And I totally backed it when we signed him, and it was really unpopular, and there's quite a lot of stick for it. And I absolutely stand by it. He's here for a reason. He's really key to the part under Ange. So hopefully this could be a good week for him as well. When Fulham at the weekend, Fulham are a team up and down. You just don't know. They pose a lot more threat for me this year. They've had a really good transfer window, both defensively, recruiting-wise in terms of the team and offensively, and that they've brought in money from various areas. So they got it right at Fulham. I think that's Sander Berger, for example, to protect the defence. Obviously brought Maddison from Palace. I think it was a real steal and offer a lot going forward. Jimenez, good form, Iwobi. But, it's a bad loss today against Wolves. I think mainly down to how well Wolves done, but that's not a good result for Fulham. So I'm going to be bold and go for 2 wins for Spurs this week. But I reckon a couple of changes against Roma for sure.
Craig, how are you feeling ahead of this week? More confident than you have been?
I would say so. I mean, I do try and take each game as it comes, but it's very difficult to do that, isn't it? I think Harry's right. I think Thursday you're going to see Werner come in. You probably see Johnson come in. He's a little bit concerning. We're going to have to play Solanke again because obviously Lancashire is going to be banned and Richarlison's out. So obviously Solanke's got to do that. But hopefully we'll be in a position where we can give him a bit of rest and play with a false 9 perhaps. As for Fulham on Sunday, excuse me, these are the games that we're looking to win. As we said before, it's pointless going to beat Man City at their patch and only drop points against Fulham. So you would hope we get a couple of players back. And just looking at that table there, Chris, actually, it is possible because you never know. Everybody seems to be beating everybody. We're right there. We are right there. Look where we would have been if we got 3 points against Ipswich. So you only need another weekend like that, and we're going to be right up there. But the Europa League, we've got to push on in this. I think one more win and we should have probably just about qualified. And I had, you'll like this, Chris, I had Ali Ross, big friend of mine, Ali Ross, who's been on the channel a few times and gave us a wonderful insight into Ange. He's a Celtic fan. A year and a half ago when we signed Ange and got us all a lot very excited about what we could expect. But Ali's been absolutely, he's watched a lot of Tottenham games, obviously since Ange came down. He's been 100% behind Ange and keeps saying to me whenever I say, this is not good, this inconsistency, he said, you've got to trust it. And he was messaging me during the game and all he put was 3 words, I told you, believe. But and then Ali is going to be on with us after the Rangers game in December because, as I say, Ali's a big Celtic fan. He's absolutely confident we are going to pump Rangers 10-0 or so. I don't think 10-0 perhaps, but he can't wait for that, Chris, that one to come on, and he thinks we've got that one in the bag already. So I do admire Ali's confidence.
Everyone has said this though. Every expert that I've spoken to and had the pleasure of having on this channel people that have covered Ange Postecoglou's career from the very start, they've all said, we've seen this all before. We've seen everyone doubt him, and he always proves everyone wrong. And of course, the counter argument is always, yeah, but this is the Premier League. So let's see how it all pans out. But hopefully, I'm with Kate. I'd love to see a trophy at some point down the line. Kate, lastly with you, another big week. Of course, there's never an easy week. It is a big week because, of course, we play Europa League football, Premier League football. I think it's like 9 games in 30 days. It's going to be a very, very busy period for all of us going to the games and talking on podcasts, etc. But how are you feeling ahead of this upcoming week?
A lot more confident after today. I mean, unless they're both at home, and as we all know, we don't win away unless it's at their Etihad, quite obviously. So look, I agree. I expect to see a few changes for the Roma game with Werner, Johnson. I mean, I don't know when Mikey Moore's expected to be back. I know that he's supposed to have this virus, but it needs to have knocked him sideways by all accounts. Whether he'll be back in time for Fulham, I don't know, but. Look, I think there's no reason why. I think we need to keep. I would like to see us keep the same team against Fulham, even if Romero's back. But whether he'd do that, I don't know. But I think the team today looked really gelled and really impressive. So, but I expect us to get 6 points. I expect us to beat Roma. I think it's a good time to play them, and I expect us to beat Fulham. So I'm feeling confident going into this coming week. And I think even if we'd have lost to City, I still would have that confidence because we are a different animal at home than we are away. And now we've started kicking in away at the champions, and we're unstoppable. The quad actually might be on.
Wow.
Not
good
really.
Stuff. Not really, no.
Or anyone quotes me.
Yeah. Kate, thank you so much for coming back. And just before you do say where people can find you, etc., I know Craig loves this part of the show where the people watching live on YouTube, Facebook, and on X, please do let us know where in the world that you are watching us from. Craig absolutely loves this part, so I'm sure he's after a free holiday at some point. You can put him up at some point. Yeah, he'd love it. Kate, thank you so much for coming back. Where can people find you on social media? Tell everyone about your channel, what they can expect if they come over and subscribe.
Well, thank you for having me on again in quick succession as well, and after such a wonderful win. You can find me and my husband at The Perfect Match, KJ, or on Twitter and Instagram. I'm on The Perfect Match and at Kate1305. We cover all the Premier League and obviously mainly Spurs, Monday to Friday, midday. We always do a show. We've got a special show this Wednesday. We work with closely with a mental health charity, so we've got a special mental health stream this Wednesday. But yeah, if there's anything to do with Spurs, you'll find it there. We always have different opinions, mainly between me and Jimbo, because he is Mr. Positive and I'm more balanced, I like to think. But as I say, thanks again for having me on. It's been a pleasure, obviously, streaming with Harry for the first time and also streaming with Craig and yourself again. And well done again on your award.
Thank you so much, Kate. Thank you so much for your incredible support as well. Let me just say, actually, a big public thank you, because we did attend the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Thursday evening, and we were the bronze winner, the best club content creator. And it was so nice to catch up with all of the podcast regulars. Of course, Craig was there. The support is just unbelievable. This channel has had nearly 100 million views. It just blows my mind every single time I read these stats out. And we've been the #1 football podcast in 11 different countries so far in 2024. And honestly, for me, it's just, I enjoy just talking about Spurs, and the fact that so many people enjoy listening to us talking about it. It just blows my mind. So thank you so much for all of your incredible support. It's amazing. Harry, it was great to see you. It was great to meet you as well on Thursday at Tottenham. What a wonderful venue. We all know that. We're there every other weekend. Thank you so much for coming back. Where can people find you, and tell everyone about your wonderful channel as well?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, Chris. Yeah, absolutely. It was great to see you at the Football Content Awards. Great evening it was. Obviously, I suppose, as you say, great venue, representing a fantastic club. I mean, congratulations firstly on your bronze award. As I said earlier, absolutely deserved. It's just fantastic to see. So keep up your great work as well. You've certainly done Tottenham proud. So thank you for that, Chris. It was great to meet you as well. And so it was a really good evening, as you said earlier, catching up with everyone. So it's really important. I echo Kate's comments. Great to stream with you for the first time, and Craig once again as well as Chris. So no, thank you for having me. If you want to follow me, you can at HarryScarf22 across all socials. We have football content creator and YouTuber. Also have my own channel, Scarfy Spurs Talk, weekly Spurs podcast, Monday 7:45 p.m. live on YouTube, available multi-platform as well, and all kinds of Spurs England and Premier League content. So if you can subscribe and check it out, that will be massively appreciated. But it was an honour to be at the Football Content Awards and to back-to-back years and represent Spurs. Not my evening in terms of results, didn't win anything, but I'll be back stronger hopefully next year. So it was just great to be there and meet so many fantastic people in the industry, Spurs fans and just general Premier League fans, whether it be individuals as well or organisations producing for the beautiful games. It's a great evening, but a great show. So really honoured to be part of it. So thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Harry. Look forward to having you on again very soon, and keep up the great work. People like you are the future of YouTube, so keep up the great work. And Craig, I tell you, you've got to thank me here, Craig, because I've got you a room here in USA and I've got you a room here in Melbourne, Australia. So get on that plane.
Go on.
I saw he's knocks. I've never knocked to Memphis. And I think I went to the Jack Daniels factory that was in Tennessee. So yeah, lovely part of the world. And Australia. So yeah, I will. I'll happily go to Australia as well. Harry, sorry I didn't catch up with you at the awards. I must have been at the bar or something. I don't know, but I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
That's all right.
And to everybody, to everybody watching, we were up there for you at these awards. Drinking as much as we possibly could, trying to win an award on Thursday, which we did, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It really was good, and thanks for the invite, Chris. But it was great to see everybody in one place. More or less every regular that comes on the channel. Like to Richard, obviously good friend Gary and Darren and Ricky Norwood and Carl and your dad and Paul, and I've probably forgotten a couple of people, but really good to see them all. And what struck for me, there was I don't know if it was a Celtic channel. I think he'd won an award, and he got up on stage and he gave a very good speech, and he was saying that his channel. You might have to help me out here, Harry or Chris, but he got a message from somebody who I believe had lost his wife or somebody close to him and his family. He's going through a very tough time. And but the thing that kind of kept him going, and like Kate was saying, the one thing that kind of bit of escapism for you was this fella's channel. And this person had wrote to him and said, thank you very much. I tune in, win, lose or draw, and I just like listening to a bit of escapism. And it touched me a little bit because we're just four people on here, twice a week, 3 times a week, talking about football, and you just don't know what impact you have on people. And if you can help somebody by doing this and listening to me waffle on and trip over my words and get things wrong or whatever, but you enjoy it and it impacts somebody's life, then you are doing something right, and it does make you want to do more and keep doing it. So like Harry, like Chris said, keep going. Your channel's smaller at the moment, but keep going. And it will grow. It will organically grow. You do good stuff, mate. It was a pleasure to do a video for you in the week, and I'm always happy to do that for you again. But you don't realise the impact you have on people. So people tuning in, it means the world to us. But we know how much you enjoy it as well. So if you do enjoy the content, just keep watching the channel and keep giving us positive vibes. And I'm sure the trophies will come along with that. And what a day that will be.
Yeah, well said, Craig. Thank you so much. And I can't say it enough times. Thank you so much for all of your incredible support. And if there was an award for the amount of drink consumed for Content Awards, it would have gone to Ricky Norwood without any question.
It would.
So Ricky Norwood.
It would.
And best of luck to Ricky, actually, because he's starting his new filming his new film in the next couple of days. So best of luck to him. And we look forward to having him back on the channel very, very soon. Craig, Kate and Harry, thank you so much for your time. It is always so great talking about a fantastic win like today at the Etihad Stadium. I'm going to say it again, Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 4. We will see you again for a preview show in the next couple of days, previewing the Roma game. And then, of course, we will see you live for or after the Roma game. I hope you enjoyed today's watch along with Barnaby Slater as well. I'm sure he did a fantastic job. I can't wait to see that back. And take care, everyone. Keep smiling. Have a great weekend. Come on, you Spurs.
Up the Spurs.